Hi everyone, and welcome to today's resume writing template and workshop, where we're going to give you some inside tips on how to be more effective in writing a resume, and you'll be able to download our free resume template. Today's session is going to be run via this video program where I'm going to share my screen and step you through the process of how to write an effective winning resume. This is brought to you by Hunter Recruitment Group. Like many businesses locally, we've been affected by the COVID-19 crisis. And we thought, how can we give back to the many people that we've worked with over the years and our community at large? And we thought by giving away our expertise and a free resume template might just help those individuals that have been either stood down, looking for work currently, or using this time to really review their career and think about, okay, it might be time to brush up on my resume. We're going to give you some fantastic skills and tips today. So firstly, what I'd like to do is show you where you get access to this free downloadable template. So I'll quickly just share the screen with you. So you'll be able to see our website here, which is hunterrecruitmentgroup.com.au. If you log onto that website, go to the blog section of the website, and you'll see the very top blog here at the moment, which is the career or the free downloadable resume template. And it's there, writing workshop. You can click on that and you'll see you'll get access to this video, so you can re-watch the video at any time. And more importantly, you just click this button to download your free resume template. It is in a Word document format, so you'll be able to use that Word document to create your own fantastic winning resume after you've watched this video to show you how to be more effective at it. Once you've finished writing your resume, I encourage you to register with us at Hunter Recruitment Group. We'd love to see what you've been able to create, and hopefully we'll be able to find you full, true employment fit once the COVID-19 crisis averts. So if you click on register with HRG, it'll take you to our dedicated registration page where you can write down your name and email address, but more importantly, we love to know what it is that you're looking for, and then upload your new resume and submit that into our system. But today, what I'd like to start to share with you is the document itself. So what we're going to step through is a resume template provided by Hunter Recruitment Group, and it's an example of a winning resume. So it's going to be two parts. The first part of the presentation will show you a bit of a process of how to write the resume, and at the back end, we'll show you that process in its completed state, where you'll be able to see a quality resume that's only 3 pages long, but really effectively sells someone. And that is one of the key words that we believe in at Hunter Recruitment Group. Recruiting is a sales process, and if you're not in a sales or marketing approach, then you're doing it wrong. In any business, people sell effectively by trying to solve someone's problem, and recruitment is no different. The person that's advertising or the person that's trying to fill a job for business, they have a problem. They need to solve a problem in their business by putting a person into that. So you need to figure out what is the problem and how do I solve that problem for them via a resume or an approach. Now, the resume is only one component of this approach, and we're going to make sure that you get a good resume, but we'll talk in further later on in other sessions around how to be more proactive in job search. So let's step through this resume template for you. But before we do, again, it's my philosophies, Craig McGregor from Hunter Recruitment Group. So it's only one philosophy. There are other people who have different ways or methodologies on writing resumes. So take that with how you approach this, that this is one person's and it's so subjective. The critical components that we look at here is a professional format. Keyword maximization for recruitment software parsing. That sounds very technical, and I think that's where most people get their resume preparation wrong, that you really need to focus on in this day and age, ensuring that the keywords around your experience are replicated in your resume multiple times so that you get the best position in terms of shortlisting. Now, to be really simplistic around how that works, if we're looking at me as a recruiter, for example, and you're looking for work as a recruiter, and in your resume, you have the word recruitment or recruiter or recruiting, some sort of span of that, say 20 times, and I only have that 10 times, then what's going to happen is the algorithm from a recruitment software package that the hiring manager or the business or the recruitment agency is using is going to rank you higher than me. So in terms of how they're going to shortlist, they'll potentially work down the shortlist based on the weight of the resume and the keywords within it. So you've got to really understand that process and make sure that you're replicating and using those keywords effectively to get your resume to the top of the pile. Selling through achievements, which is a slightly different methodology around how to write a resume, and we'll step you through that today. This example may not showcase the need to tailor each resume to each role. So I really encourage you to go through each role that you're applying for. What are the key experiences and skills? Do I have those key experiences and skills? And how do I sell myself effectively by tailoring my resume to solving the problem of what the person looking to fill the role is trying to achieve? If you can't do that via the resume, cover letters are a great way of doing that. And we're going to go into a little bit of detail around a career statement as well today. So good luck with your job search. We hope you get a lot out of this template and this session itself. But remember, recruitment is very subjective. We are one template and HRG have our philosophies. It may not be the format that works for every piece of recruitment. So be sure that you try and tailor your resume to the role that you're trying to apply for and fill. So we'll scroll down through the resume template now, and you'll see in green, we have some tips, which we call HRG tips. And the first tip is templates on Microsoft Word can be really effective. Over the last couple of years, Microsoft have inserted templates into their Word document processing software, and it's a really good way of formatting your resume. So I encourage you to have a look at those, and if there's one there that really stands out for you, then use that template. The first component of a winning resume, obviously, is your personal details, and we would start with your name, your address. Now, again, this is a sales process. So is your address a sales feature for the role that you're applying for? So the answer is, if you're going for a temping role, for example, and it's based in Maitland and you live in Maitland, then the temping agencies probably want to make a quick decision, get that job filled with someone who's going to be able to stay in that role effectively. So address might be a winning or selling feature there. If you're applying for a role in Tasmania and you live in Maitland, then that may not be a selling feature. So you may want to stay silent on your address and address your motivation for your move in your cover letter or your approach direct to the employer. Next, phone. So mobile phone is obviously the best in today's market because recruiters and hiring managers are going to want to speak to you quickly. Email address. And look, it's funny that we have to mention this, but inappropriate email addresses do not sell you effectively in the recruitment process. So we want to make sure that you have a job-specific or a personal email address that is tailored towards job search. My recommendation is go to Gmail or Outlook or Hotmail or one of those free providers and subscribe for a free email address. Use that for your job search so that you'll have a database in that email package that'll show all the communication that you've made for each of the different roles that you've applied, but make sure that it's an appropriate email address. And LinkedIn, if you have a LinkedIn profile, here's a great place to put your LinkedIn URL. So that's just easy, one click away for the hiring manager or recruiter to go and validate some of the things in your resume, explore your experience a little bit more, have a look at those recommendations that you've had from previous employers or people, colleagues within your work history. That's going to be another layer to the onion to sell you effectively for the role that you're applying. So the next critical component of a resume is what we call a career statement or a professional statement. It's an opening couple of paragraphs around your key skills, your experience, but most importantly, it's selling you for the role that you're applying. This can be the most dynamic part of your resume potentially. You can really bulk up the keywords, really sell effectively for the role that you're trying to apply. So the example I've got here is if I'm in recruitment, I'd want to make sure that I'm really selling myself as a recruiter, recruitment professional, recruitment specialist, and the experience and background that I've got so that the people looking for that recruiter will think that I'm the winning resume. So here's an example that we've done, and this example is going to resonate through to our final template, and it shows emotive words to start to really give that positive energy around the person reading the resume. So highly experienced, motivated, and loyal accounts professional. So this person's been in accounts for 10 years and has great experience on both sides of the accounting ledger. Maximising information to ensure accurate data for customers to be serviced effectively. And then we've got those keywords in there that they've done accounts receivable, accounts payable, and payroll, and they've got advanced skills in some of the software packages that a lot of firms will be using today in this space. The second paragraph or component of a career statement can be what I call aspirational, and this is probably used more for if you're looking for a step-up role. So if this person in accounts is looking to move into or apply for a role in a leadership type capacity or a supervisory role, that professional aspirational statement will really sell them effectively for that part of their resume. Example 2 we have here is more of an example for someone in like a production or a warehousing type environment. forklift driving, delivery driving, those sorts of things. We're going to really stick with the accounts role for the example in today's template. So then we go down to employment history. Now, some people get a little bit scared off or a little bit frustrated around, well, usually I'd put my education next or my qualifications. Well, yes, they're important. However, we're going to have them below your work history, as in today's recruitment cycle, it's our belief that most people will want to know what you've done lately, your experience, and how effective is that experience in solving my problem to try and fill this role effectively. So we love to see that in reverse chronological order, which means your most recent or present job first. So this person here, company name, we give 1 or 2 lines of context for the reader. Recruitment specialists, we don't know every business in the marketplace. So to give you an example, if someone was working for Qantas, then we'd probably understand that Qantas is an airline, so wouldn't need to really read or have a look at the context. But it may be great because Qantas is so large, which part of Qantas was your work involved in? If you're working for a small business in Newcastle or in another satellite city, well, we might not know that small business. So giving us context around where that business fits will potentially sell you more effectively into the transferable skills for the role that you're applying. So the example here we've got is Company X is an accounting firm based in Maitland, servicing small to medium business predominantly in the not-for-profit space. Gives us great context about where your skills are being utilised. Then we go through the job title, and again, give us 1 or 2 lines around context about where the role fits. And then we jump into the key tasks, what you do. If you get lost on how to find or put these into your resume, and this is your stumbling block, then look to your position description. Have a think about what it is that's on that position description that helps you to figure out what it is that you do. Dot points are critical here. I love dot points in this component of the resume for a couple of different reasons. They're much easier to read as someone scanning through your resume. But I did a course a number of years ago on how to write a job ad, and dot points in job ads are critical as well because of what they call white space. So you can see on this document, there's lots of white space that's created by the dot points. It's subliminally more attractive to your eye. So as a reader, we're not looking at that with a mindset of, oh, there's a lot of words there to read. It's just a much more, dot points, scan through to see what's effective for that specific role. So you can see here, we've got some of the key areas that they've worked in, and then we're going to jump into what we call achievements. Now, achievements are more how I was effective at doing the role. Now, this is quite critical in trying to sell you better. So you can see here, this individual has set up some complex spreadsheets to help with cash flow. They've stepped up into a leadership role for 6 months secondment. They've been instrumental in creating monthly reports within Xero. They've done some qualifications within that software program, and we're an employee of the month. It just sells you more effectively in terms of how you were successful in the role as compared to this is what I've done. The next role you can see here, we go down to the next role, year to and from again, more context around what the role is. So very similar to what we did above. As you go down in time, you're probably going to reduce the key dot points and the key achievements as you want to condense the resume as much as possible, but also it's what you've done lately that someone's going to really, really reflect on. Now, the opposite to that is if your role a little bit low in your resume is really critical to the sales experience or the experience for this specific role, you probably want to beef it up a little bit to make sure that you sell that you've got the background and experience that the individual business or recruiter is looking for. So you've got to make sure you tailor it to the need of that role. I can't stress that enough. So you'll see here, we've gone through that process again as a payroll officer, a little bit more information, what they've done, and then how they did it. Now, the example that we don't have in the actual template itself, which I will quickly touch on today, is if you've worked for Company Y for, say, 10 years and you've had 3 roles within that tenure, I really encourage you to add the 10 years at the top. So Company Y, 10 years, and then each individual role would be set out separately with the years that you worked in that role indented slightly so that as a reader, we can see, okay, they've worked their way up or progressed through the organisation, but they had 10 years sales experience in that business or in this case, experience in an accounts or payroll position. Okay, we've got another role here, very similar step through, company name, job title, key tasks. Here we've just avoided the achievements component to condense the resume effectively. We now get to that point where we used to have that at the top of the resume, which is the education or qualifications component. As you can see here, school, location, qualification. The biggest stumbling block that most people have is, do I put the year that I got the qualification in? Now, personal choice here, two schools of thought. People in the older age bracket sometimes come to us that they're fearful that they will be discriminated against due to age. So they're fearful of putting their qualifications in. So let's use me as an example. I finished my HSC in 1992. So you could reverse engineer that and guess that I'm around about that 45 years of age. Now, if you're older in bracket or you don't want to be reverse engineered, then you stay silent on the years that your qualifications were given. The alternative to that is I really like to see the year that you've got a qualification as a recruiter, because it shows recency and relevancy, I suppose, in terms of your skill sets. So let's use this example. So this person went to TAFE New South Wales in Maitland, has a certificate in accounting and bookkeeping. And if it had that in 2018, it would really show that that's a really recent qualification. If they had that in 2005, it would show they've got the qualification. It may not be as recent in terms of some of the software programs, but they've got 15 years of experience post that qualification. So it's up to you in terms of how you sell yourself effectively on that one. You can see here they've had some online courses and some in-house training that they've done. We have skills and abilities, so bookkeeping, accounts payable, all those keywords again that we want replicated to get us higher in that search parameters via the recruitment database. In the example that you'll see below, to save some space, we've actually created this into two columns. Personal interest. Now, personal interest is something that I love in a resume, others don't. So again, it depends on how you feel about what you want to put in your resume. A personal interest doesn't really sell you for skill sets, but in this sales process, I have a saying that human beings will hire people like themselves, and I truly believe that. Now, 3 dot points on there may mean absolutely nothing, but they may mean a lot. So for example, you can see here that this person loves basketball. Well, I love basketball, so I'm probably going to see that on their resume and wonder about, do I know them? Have I played against them? Is there people that we know together? Is there shared friends? It's a great dot point that may just get you into the next phase in terms of, this person's a good fit for our culture, our personalities. Let's have a look at this person with their skill sets. Now, again, if you get through to the interview phase and the resume is used as a document to really get through your skill sets, that dot point could mean at the start of the interview, in that ice-breaking section for a couple of minutes, we might talk about basketball to just get a feel for each other, but also make you feel more comfortable in the interview phase. So it's a really important component that could mean everything, but again, it could mean nothing. But I just, again, go back to human beings, hire people like themselves, and on a flat document, this is one of those emotive or personal things that you can put into it. Finally, in our template, we have references. Two schools of thought on references. First option is available on request, which I love for the executive or management style resumes, because you can control who the recruiter or hiring managers calls in terms of your references. To give you an example, if you've got 3 great referees and you're in this accounts space and you've been in an accounts payable role, but you've also done payroll and accounts receivable, and it's an accounts payable role for which you're applying, then you'd want to position those references that understand you best in the accounts payable space. Because if I, as a recruiter, ring the referee and they really only know you in a payroll space, they're not going to sell you effectively for the job that I'm trying to fill. So make sure you position those references effectively for the sales process. The other school of thought is to actually post your referees. Now, this is a great place for those roles, those temping roles that people want to fill quickly, that they want to get in there and make sure that the job is filled. So we want to get in and reference check quickly. But also, again, this is a sales document. If you have someone in your space, in your market, in your sector that is highly regarded, then having them on your resume as a reference could sell you so much more effectively. So again, choose wisely as to which way you go with the references. If you're going to go with the references being on the resume, then nowadays we'd put name, job title, telephone number, mobile if we can, and then email address. Now, email address and email systems have become really, really popular over the last 12 to 18 months with recruitment and hiring managers. So again, it's another way for them to be effective in generating references quickly. So that goes through the resume template itself. Below, we're going to actually have the real document that you'll be able to see and potentially use for yourself in terms of creating a resume. So we've used my name, Craig McGregor. I live in Resumeville, which is a cool little town here in the Hunter Valley. Here's my mobile number, my email address, which I've set up specifically for job search, and here's my LinkedIn URL. Now, the LinkedIn URL I've personalized, so that's a really great tip. if you go into LinkedIn, you can actually take this URL and make it look really professional. So most times it would say LinkedIn 92658, whereas you see mine here is Craig McGregor, HRG, can be clicked on, very professional look on my resume. So from above, here's the career statement that we've created around being highly experienced. We've got these key words with regards to accounts, because that's the kinds of roles that we're applying for, and accounting and accounts again, to make sure that we're getting those words into the parsing system. So you can see here, we've got the employment history, the best accounting firm, when we've worked for them, quick little statement around that firm, what the role was, the key tasks, and then the achievements that sell me effectively for how I worked in that business. Awesome Manufacturing from 2005 to 2011. Again, a little context around who they are, what the job was, key tasks and achievements. And the last one, bookkeeping role, family owned, internal bookkeeping, some dot points on what that role was. We've got our education in there. We've got our skills and abilities, and you can see we set that out nicely by using columns in Microsoft Word, our personal interests, and then our referees. A quick little 3-page resume that will really sell you effectively in that accounts space. So look, I thank you for sitting through our online session, but also I encourage you to download the resume template from Hunter Recruitment Group website so that you can be effective in your job search. I hope you stay safe during the coronavirus pandemic, that you stay connected to your families, stay connected to your employer if you're on the JobKeeper network, stay connected to your recruitment agencies that you work with if you're looking to get bounce back once we all go back to healthiness and we can all connect once again. So I encourage you again to download the resume template, stay in touch, and thank you so much for being part of today's session. I'm Craig McGregor from Hunter Recruitment Group.